I don't. Did you? I don't know. Like, there. She's out there. You're the Florida version of Sex in the City, JD.
That's when I was smoking my cigar.
Don't be an asshole today.
Hello, I'm good. How are you?
Really, it's great to have you. We missed you yesterday. It's okay.
I know. I'm so sorry. I was out in the middle of the desert. I thought I'd have like a way to stop and at a Starbucks on my way to the next show, but then we ended up being like stuck in the desert. So
I love the outfit.
Yeah, look
Thank
at you.
you.
So I was crawling all over your website, and I I was like just stunned. Like, why have we not heard of you? I'm in London, so I guess that makes sense. But
Yeah.
I'm sure you'll make your way over here. But
Hopefully soon. Yeah.
yeah, it's great to have you here for our listeners and our viewers. This is Elliot Lee, and you're a Brooklyn-based musician, singer, and songwriter. And I was telling JD that I found your music. It had like this explosion of pop, but these moody, angsty lyrics. And so is that what you were shooting for? Were you like, let me get my angst out in this music because people will connect?
For sure. Yeah. Like music is just kind of my outlet. So for a long time, I was really bad at telling people how I felt and like the struggles I was going through, but I had a lot of them. So I was just kind of bottling them all up. And music was just kind of like the only way for me to get it all out into the world. And through that, I found out that it helps other people too, because then they hear what I'm saying that they're also afraid to say, and hearing me say it helps them feel less scared. So yeah, it's definitely like a lot of stuff that I'm just too scared to say without music behind it.
That's a really good way of explaining it. Yeah.
Yeah.
JD is a songwriter too. Do you find it, Jay? Do you find like you get your things that you wouldn't normally say out unless you go to music? Yeah, yeah.
It actually is a great way to express your feelings that otherwise are hard to say. And then you do find other people really relate and they'll come up to you and say, that's my story, or that made such a difference to me. Yeah, definitely. It's a great outlet, especially if you aren't easily able to express your feelings. That's definitely a great way to do it if you're a music artist and a songwriter.
Absolutely.
So how did you discover that you had a talent? Like how did you just sitting in your bedroom with a keyboard or recording stuff, or is that
Yeah, for me, I guess like I've been a singer. Like I love to sing. I was in choir in middle school, so like it was a little passion of mine. But I never could write music. I just was like, I'm not able to do that. I'm not even gonna try. Like in my head, it was not possible. And then yeah, like I guess in college was when I really sat down. I had a ukulele because everyone kind of had them back then,
Yeah,
and it was like super easy to learn. Exactly, super easy to learn, simple. So it was like my one little instrument. I was in a college dorm, so I had to be kind of quiet. I couldn't have like a rock guitar, so I would just sit there with my uke and just kind of like sing my feelings. And I started to like, well, I'm kind of good at this, I guess. Like what I made me happy. At least I like to listen to it, which is all that mattered to me back then.
right?
So then I just kind of kept doing it, and it just resonated with people, which is really cool. I don't know why, but it did.
That's great. And you find that LGBTQ community is warm and embracing?
Absolutely, yeah. I think like 90% of my fans are probably LGBTQ for sure.
And what about for you? How do you identify?
I identify as non-binary and queer as the umbrella term. I used to like have a lot of specific labels that I was like, maybe I'm this, but then I realized that like queer as an umbrella term for me works really well because it kind of just like I'm in this label, I'm somewhere in there, and that's all that really matters until like maybe we're dating, then we could get into specifics or whatever. But I'm under the umbrella, Yeah.
And how did you feel about like putting out music? That's a pretty niche, group that you're appealing to. Did you, as far as like management goes, do you just go up to them and say, look, I'm a queer artist, I just want to get that out of the way up front, you know? And
Yeah, I definitely think that like I mean I never really said that up front, but I think that like once you get to know me, it's a little obvious. And like yeah, I think I never really I guess tried to appeal to queer people, quote unquote, but like it's just who who I am, and the people who like get me are just like me, so they end up also being queer, and just works out. I think a lot of I mean obviously not everyone who gets me is queer, but I just think it ends up being in that world of people who understand what it's like to, I guess, like put on a mask and pretend to be someone else because of not being accepted and all that. And that's a lot of the themes of what I deal with, and loneliness too, which I know a lot of queer people feel lonely because that's just like part of being queer, especially like in any state or country where it's not accepted, you know.
Yeah, definitely. I remember that we used to get some emails from people back, you know, as early as like 2006, 2007 from these places that to be honest with you, I never even heard of. You know, you know, before all this was going on in Ukraine, I didn't really even know about Ukraine, but we got an email from a girl who asked us if we could send her some merchandise from the lesbian lounge because
That's awesome.
she found the podcast and you know, could only listen to it, you know, when she was alone and or had her earphones in, and you know,
Right.
it was like heartbreaking but heartwarming at the same time that
Definitely.
you know, you're reaching people for the right reasons, but it's sad that that this is, you know, like that was like she said, this is my own on Wednesdays is the only time I feel myself because I'm listening to you guys and I can relate,
Oh,
you know,
that's
and
so
it was
sweet
just like,
though.
geez, yeah, it's really,
I mean,
it's,
it's awful, but it's also very sweet that she even was able to find you.
yeah, I know it always, that kind of stuff always blows my mind. Like someone's out there looking, and that's, you know, really why we do what we do, because sometimes I think people do have a hard time and they don't have immediately know what resources are out there for them, or
That's
what,
true.
you know, what anything what's out there for them to connect to. So we like to spotlight people, especially right now, it's Pride Month, maybe, you know.
Yes, it is.
You know, to kind of share our finds with people, and hopefully, you know, they'll connect, or they'll reach out, or they'll, you know, whether it's to us or directly, you know, to you. So we should say your website is elliottlee.com, right? And
Yes,
it's
it is.
one
Yeah, and
T.
I'm also on all social media platforms. I'm on YouTube, Spotify, everywhere. Basically, if you Google Elliot Lee, I think like a list of like social medias come up. Anyone you use, I'm on it. So
That's great. That's great. And I always like tell it's one T. Elliott
yes,
with
one T.
one T.
Yeah, Elliot, one T. I know people do the two T's.
How do you get your music out? How is your main way of performing and sharing your music with the world?
So at first I was going through like SoundCloud and stuff because I didn't have like a distributor or anything like that, and I was just like, well, I just want to put it out in the world, like YouTube and all that. Now I
Yeah,
go through an independent label called Photo Finish, and they put it out. They help me put it out, which is really nice. 'Cause I don't have to worry about all that stuff. And then yeah, I perform all the time. Right now I'm on tour actually with Hobo Johnson, kind of going through. I was in Arizona, now I'm in Texas, and I have a couple more shows until I'm back home in New York City. So
that's
yeah, I've
very
been touring a lot.
exciting.
So
Are
yeah.
you originally from New York City?
I've lived here for like 6 years now, but I was not born here now.
Oh,
Yeah.
because you don't sound like you're from Brooklyn.
No, I was born in Washington State, and I kind of moved all over the U.S., so I have like a mixture of accents from everywhere I've been. Yeah,
So did you go to New York for your music as a
I
better outlet, better
definitely, yeah,
location? Yeah,
for
yeah,
sure. Because I was in Tampa, Florida for college, and that's where I like first started writing music. And that's not
yeah,
really like a scene. There's like kind of an underground music scene there, but not really the kind that I was looking for. You know, they were kind of like this weird like experimental thing going on that like
yeah.
wasn't up my alley. And I just wanted to go somewhere where I had more like ability to get my stuff out there. And like Central Park, I would go busk all the time when I first moved there. And
Yeah.
yeah, my dad was actually also already moving there, and I was like, can I just come like sleep on your couch when you move there? And so I kind of tagged along, and yeah.
This is not the Florida is not the place to do original music to perform. I was just talking about that with a musician today, actually.
Mhm.
Don't do not. It's not a state where they embrace that.
No,
People
not
are
really.
that, you know, New York, Nashville, obviously, Austin,
Mhm.
LA. There are certain places where it is more embraced than covers, but not definitely not
Definitely.
Florida. So, yeah,
No.
I
JD
have to
JD's
Esther,
living there right now.
Oh, you
right?
really? You're there right
I
now?
know. Yeah, and I did a show in October that was such a big deal to me because the whole show was originals and my
Oh,
story behind
wow.
the music. Yeah, and it was a ticketed venue. But that's
Amazing.
rare. That was a
Yeah.
really big deal for me. Now I'm playing that same venue in a month and
Mhm.
actually 2 weeks, and I'm doing a cover show, a tribute to the women of the '70s. So
Oh,
you know that's
wow.
a no-brainer, that kind of a show, because people love
Mhm.
Carly Simon, and I'll do some of my music in there, but usually it's just 90% of what you say the show is going to be. But yeah,
Right. That's amazing though. That's cool that you got to do original stuff. I know that can be hard for sure in like the South in general if you're not in Nashville.
oh,
Yeah,
absolutely.
yeah, definitely. And I think
Yeah.
I like for me when I was on your website, like I watched the videos, as
Mhm.
opposed to just going to Spotify and listening to a song, because
Mhm.
then I get to see your interpretation,
Yeah.
like of your music, and that was
Mhm.
pretty fun. Like Dirt is really good.
I love that one. Yeah.
Yeah, Dirt is pretty cool. And
Mhm.
so
Thank you.
like, is that what you're like when you finish a show and the people come up to you and like they talk about your YouTube videos or
Yeah,
that?
people, I mean, actually, so I'm on my third tour ever, which I've done. This is my third now in the last 3 months. So I've just been kind of on tour, opening for people. So far since I've been an opener, no one's like really heard of me before the shows. So they come up to me and they're like, all they've heard is just my performance opening, which is actually pretty cool for me because then I love performing. It's kind of like where I feel the most comfortable and where I feel like I can really get myself out there. So it's cool to be like showing these people who I am for the first time in like my favorite form, which is on stage. And
Yeah,
then from there, they like go and find me and they'll message me on Instagram or whatever and be like, oh my God, you're so cool. I like your music videos and stuff.
that's
But
great. Yeah,
yeah,
that's really cool. And is it just you and tracks, or do you have a band with you?
just me and tracks. Yeah.
Oh,
I just
cool.
kind of
Okay.
go crazy on stage and jump around and sing. And yeah, it's a really fun one.
Yeah, that sounds freeing.
It's very freeing. Yeah.
Yeah.
I tried to have a band for a while, but actually, we had like a difference of opinions in like socially. I started speaking more about like my queerness and gender and they didn't like that. So they both
Oh,
left my band. And I'm like, well, that's fine. If you don't want to be with
yeah.
me through that, then bye.
Yeah.
Like that's my whole thing. That's who I am. So now I'm alone and I'm glad I'm alone because it's actually been really freeing and I got to do kind of whatever I want without having to worry about anyone else, you know?
Yeah,
Plus,
yeah,
it's
that's
so
ideal.
expensive to travel with a whole band. I
That
mean,
too. It's very expensive. Yeah,
it's almost impossible to do that nowadays, to travel with four other people
for
or even
sure.
three other people. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
And
I
your
have.
Definitely.
Go ahead.
the management company, they've been so great because I was working, with them, through
Mhm.
emails and everything. And so do you feel like they really like get you?
I think luckily people I've surrounded myself with all really get me and they know who I am. And they're all on my side, which is really nice. Like I feel like they love how creative I am and stuff. There's no like tension there, which is really nice because I have a lot of like creative energy. Like I'll be like, hey guys, I have a really cool idea. And it's like I worked with people before who were like, okay, calm down, like whatever. But they don't do that to me. So it's really nice.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, that's great that, they're not giving you a lot of pushback on stuff that
Yeah.
they would
Mhm.
like you to do, like
Yeah.
that's,
It's
yeah,
been
that's
it's
nice.
been very freeing. Yeah. I get to do kind of whatever I want, which is cool.
Oh, that's lucky. Yeah, that's great.
Hmm.
That's terrific. Like that,
Yeah.
like for someone your age to, you like to be touring, that's just
Hmm.
fantastic, let alone
Mm.
touring kind of alone, like on your
Yeah.
own, you know.
Just me and my best friend who is like my tour manager basically, but I've known him since I was high school. So it's just me and him. He's been driving me around and he's been helping me get my
Great.
money at the end of the day, and that's it, just us.
Oh, wow, that's great. Do you
Yeah, it's
get
been
nervous
awesome.
going into like we were talking about how, in a lot of other shows that, it comes up about how different every state is, whether it's a blue state, a
Hmm.
red state, know,
Right.
whether it's a hate state, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So do you get like, you're going to Texas, which is just as, you know, big
Yep.
time red state. Like, do you have any
Mm-hmm.
nerves about that, or it's just no because the people that are coming know what they're going to get?
I think I was definitely nervous before. So I just finished Arizona, which was really nice and welcoming. The people there were at least at the show, and now I'm in Dallas today, and tomorrow's my Dallas show, my first Texas show. I guess technically 2 days ago was my first Texas show, but it was El Paso, which I guess they don't really consider themselves Texas. They told me they consider
Yeah,
themselves
yeah,
Mexico.
yeah.
So like it was
But
like very, it
now,
was very blue, and they were very like welcoming. Now I'm in Dallas, which I guess I looked up as a blue city technically, but it's like so big that
Oh.
anyone can live here, you know.
yeah,
So we'll see. Hopefully it's also welcoming. I think luckily the person I'm touring with, that I'm opening for, he has culminated like a pretty like, you know, accepting
diverse,
fan base. So anyone who's going to be
yeah.
there is going to be accepting and cool. But I definitely I still get nervous. Like my tour manager has a hat that says like protect trans kids. And I'm like, maybe don't wear that while we're out in Dallas, just to be
Yeah,
safe.
yeah.
Like I don't want to like get hurt.
That's
But
so
yeah.
brave. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just kind of weird. Like you said, you kind of look up beforehand to get a feel for what to expect, you know, in each place
For
you're going.
sure.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like
I've been Googling like trans laws in each city just to make sure I'm not like breaking any. I don't know, like, because some of them have like crazy loosely written laws, you know, where it's like, well, if you're like kind of breaking the gender wall on stage, it's technically illegal. And I'm like, well, like I'm kind of doing that. So like, but
yeah,
these ones I'm in so far have been very welcoming and cool. So
that's good.
hopefully,
Yeah, I know. I was reading something a couple of days ago, you know, about Harry Styles, you know, over here,
Mhm.
and I was surprised because he seems like so beloved everywhere else, and yet here, you know, technically at home for him, he gets
Yeah,
he gets a lot of hate.
really,
Oh yeah, he gets a lot of hate. I mean,
wow,
I would say, not 50-50, but you know,
Mhm.
definitely 70-30. So yeah,
Wow,
yeah. It's just surprising. Wherever you go, there's gonna be challenges, but
for
you know, I
sure.
think the lesson that we're all kind of coming away with is, we get that the hate is really, really loud, but we're
Mhm.
gonna keep on keeping on and doing what we do and
Exactly.
just and put it out there. It's not going to stop us, like
Mm.
it's
Yeah.
one thing to give you pause, and make you have to think about things that you normally wouldn't have to. But
Mhm.
that's just what we do. We do what we have to do to feel safe, and,
Absolutely.
and that's
And
it. But
I bet for the most part, like you're probably not, I think you're probably meeting more love than hate, I'm thinking, because
Yeah.
like when Denise was down here and we were going to play, we were going to the Pride Fest, I was playing it and Denise was visiting, and we were there as the Rainbow Remix. They
Mhm.
had things, the paper, like, or whatever, the paper, listen to me. Things in the media
Yeah.
saying that we were, they were expecting protesters, especially because what was going on here in Florida
Right.
politically. But we didn't. It was a great time. Like you don't really
Mhm.
meet. I think like the hate isn't as loud as everybody. Like if you listen to the good stuff, there's good
Mhm.
stuff.
yeah,
But the hate,
Yeah, definitely. I definitely found that. I think the hate is louder online when people can be behind a screen and not be in real
right?
life. And there's like a
Exactly.
couple awful people in real life, but in general, people tend to be a lot more accepting than maybe
Yeah.
you realize.
That's how,
yeah,
yeah.
And for sure. And I also think, like for me personally, thinking about being on tour, like I've always kind of thought of myself as a voice for the voiceless in the way that I speak about things that people maybe don't feel like they can vocalize on their own. And that also extends to queer people, obviously. And I think it's important for me to perform in places where maybe they don't feel like they have a voice, because then they can see me being on stage in these places where like they feel like they are hated and shouldn't be there. And then they see me being me and maybe being like them, and that helps them maybe accept themselves a little better. So I know as like a kid living in Texas for a while, I felt like I couldn't be me because I was queer, but no one could know, because if they found out, it'd be like the end.
yeah,
Yeah.
And so like
Yeah.
if I had someone like me, like if I'd gone to a show where someone like me was on stage talking about being queer, I'd be like, it's okay to be me.
yeah,
So that's why I
Yeah.
think it's really
That's
important for me
so
to be
true.
open about it, you know.
yeah.
Yeah.
The representation it's out there, and we got to
Mhm.
keep it out. You got to have drag queens reading story times, you know.
Absolutely.
Got to have trans kids getting the health care that they need, that kind of thing.
Absolutely.
And yeah, I do think that you're right about the media being the way it is, it's just, it spotlights and it gives people a platform to think that they're being so loud, you know, because,
Exactly.
Right.
you know,
That was my
you know,
point. I
yeah,
think that
yeah,
because by putting that word out, they were trying to keep people away. You
mhm,
know,
Exactly.
control the
Scared
haters
them.
as the numbers, and people I think are braver behind the keyboard than they are when they go out.
Exactly.
yeah,
I
no,
mean, you have to
definitely.
be careful because you do get the people who are so extreme. You never really know, but I
Yeah.
think on the whole, you know, the media does it like Denise said, like they will embellish that so much to.
Yeah, the
For
media
sure.
does it, and then hate follows hate, you know,
Right,
and they
right,
think that they've got, like, you know, some steam, and you know, they don't get that, you know, we're still gonna do what we're gonna do, and you know, and the thing of it is like, it doesn't phase me if someone's like, you know, not a hater, but they don't really give a shit. You know,
Yeah.
like I would rather them be like that. Like, just do you, you know, you do you, I'll do me.
right,
You're
right,
not bothering me. Like, who you sleep with doesn't affect my day-to-day life, you know, that kind of thing.
right.
Like, I'm
Exactly.
totally good with that. It's the
Yeah.
extremists that really ruin everything, you know, like,
Absolutely. Always, of course.
yeah, and you know, because everything is so polarized now, like the
Mhm.
division is just so deep
Oh
that to
yeah,
me it's like, it's like, actually, I used to say it's so political, everything's so political. To me now, it's beyond that, you know,
It
it's
is.
beyond that. And then that's what's sad, because it's just, you know, it forces us to live with our deepest fears, you know, and push through them on a regular
Yeah.
basis. Whereas they may have been in the back of our minds, you know,
Mhm.
back in, like, you know, 2012, 2013, you know, and
right, right.
you know, when gay marriage passed, it gave everybody a lot of hope, you
For
know, and
sure.
then just like 3 years later, we get this dumbass, you know, in office that ruins everything. But I mean, you
Uh,
know, the thing is that we got a little complacent, and now we're just back at having to be situationally aware, but
mhm.
you know, we just have to push through it and do the things that we would normally do and keep our
Absolutely.
lives as normal as possible. And it's you know, it's tricky to navigate, but I commend, you know, people, you know, people that like you and Jay, you know, for going out there and being on stage in front of people and being your authentic selves, you know, and just doing what you love. Like, you're not going to let them stop you from doing what you love, you know,
Yeah,
Absolutely.
and being who
true.
you are. And that's, you know, like, that's just like Brave comes to mind, but you know, I think it's inspiring and you know, in all sorts of ways, especially your generation, Elliot, because you know, like, you're carrying the torch for us old timers. You know what I mean?
I
and,
got you.
yeah, and yeah, that's, it's like, we need to know that. We need to know that.
For
So yeah,
sure.
it's definitely a good feeling. And you know, and I love that you're, you know, doing that, you know, like, you're going to be in Texas. That's just
Hmm.
huge. You know, Jay, you live out loud in Florida. You know, like, these are
Yeah, yeah.
big important things. You know what I mean? Like, when we have
Yeah.
something from LA on, it's like, I'm like,
You don't get
yeah,
it.
yeah, you don't, you
Yeah.
know. But you know what I always say, like, our gay friends in California en masse are the loudest, you know,
Mm,
Yeah.
like, we do have that, we have them to thank, you know.
yeah, yeah,
That's
right.
awesome. Yeah.
I'm not
They
taking
get
anything away from
forward.
our New Yorkers.
We're kind of quiet, I think. We kind of do
We
our
are
stuff. Like,
loud.
we have like a loud community within the community, you know?
Yeah, but you know, like, your pockets, you know, like your
Hmm.
Park Slope pockets and your village, and you know,
Exactly.
yeah, like, you know, they're
We've got Stonewall, though. We've got Stonewall.
that's right. So,
Right.
Historically, at least.
you got the Lesbian Archive Museum there up in Park
Hmm.
Slope. Yeah,
Yep.
I definitely want to drop in there when we're there in
Where is
September.
the one, the one that you're in? Is that in Hershey in Pennsylvania?
Me?
The yeah, or yeah, the
No,
Hearst.
no, that's in Park Slope.
Oh, that's in
Wow.
Pennsylvania.
Awesome.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
oh,
yeah.
wow.
That's
As a matter of
amazing.
fact, like, that was part of the reason why I wanted to go in September, to like personally bring them some stuff of ours.
Yeah,
That's
Like,
that's
so
so
cool.
yeah, they,
Yeah.
yeah, they don't do a lot digitally because it's literally a museum and a library, you know?
Wow.
So giving them, a drive with our shows, it doesn't do much,
Right, right. Yeah.
physically bringing them like some of our old show notes and our posters and, things like that, so
Wow.
they have like tangible, touchable items. So
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
definitely a stop in September, and I'm looking forward to it. But
So cool.
it's just a little stop. Like, other than that, I'm just gonna be looking for pizza and bagels the whole time.
Oh yeah. For
Oh,
sure.
and Chinese food.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. So yeah,
So-
it'll be fun, and
Mhm.
looking forward to it. But if you're there in September, we'll have to make
Absolutely.
you show us around.
For sure.
Yeah,
I
that'd be
have
fun.
to ask about your attire. Do you make
Yeah.
that, and what do you call that look? Because I see chains, but I see like ears and lace.
Are those bunny ears? Are those bunny ears?
Yeah.
Floppy
Yeah.
bunny.
Bunny ears. Yeah.
Puppy ears. Yeah.
Everyone,
Yeah. I kind of just bring together stuff from everywhere I go, and it looks cool. My manager's stepping in the car right now. You're good. Hello. Yeah, I just kind of, this hat my friend made for me for touring, so I just wanted a bunny hat really bad, and they were like, "I got you." These are actually my prescription. They're my prescription glasses. So
Oh, wow.
awesome.
I need him to see. And the shirt, I think I just found it at a random Hot Topic on the way. I just kind of bring together stuff from everywhere I go, and I kind of like mixing the like soft, like kind of pinks and
Right, yeah.
blues with like
Edgy.
some chains and like kind of a little bit grunge too.
It literally
Yeah.
represents your music. It like,
For sure.
right? A little soft, a little edgy, a little poppy, a little moody. I love
Yeah.
it. It's like it
It's-
all.
Yeah, I love kind of representing who I am on what I'm wearing, because then it kind of like shows off who I am. Like, first impression is like, that's me. You get it, like looking at me,
Yeah.
Stuffed animal bunny grunge. Like
I love that. That's the best description I've ever heard in my life. I'm gonna use
Bunny
that from now
grunge.
on.
bunny
Stuffed
grunge.
animal bunny grunge. Bunny grunge. That's it. You've named it. I love that.
There it is. That's
That's
great.
it.
Have it.
Oh, it's fantastic. Well, listen, we're gonna let you carry on now. You got your manager there. Fill her in. Tell her how wonderful we were. Hi, we were great.
Yeah, they were great.
Good. I was just in there buying comic books, so y'all do what you need
We've
to
been
do.
going to comic book stores on our day off, so.
That's the kind of chill representation everybody needs,
Straight up.
Yes.
That's great. Well, listen, kick some ass in Texas.
Heck
And
yeah.
we're gonna let everybody know. Elliot with 1T Lee.com. Go check out the YouTube stuff. Dirt's my favorite. And yeah, keep in touch, and we hope everything goes great.
Absolutely. Thank you both so much for chatting. I really appreciate it.
Thank you. Happy Pride.
Thank you. Happy Pride.
Bye.
Why do you always run back to
Like, never stop
the
chasing your
lover
dreams.
you once knew? You're addicted to her
There,
touch.
see?
That's true. And I confess, my addiction is you. Don't ask me why I'm here tonight. I had to take this midnight drive to find you. And as I come in through the door, I see her dancing on the floor beside you. Why do you always run back to the lover you once knew? You're addicted to her touch, that's true. And I confess, my addiction is you. You look at me and in my eyes you see the hurt I can't disguise. I watch you, and though it seems I look right through, I'm noticing your every move. She's got you. Why do you always run back to the lover you once knew? You're addicted to her touch, that's true. And true.